This is absolutely crazy. The US government just ordered Anthropic to disable Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all customers. Anthropic just tweeted, the US government, citing national security authorities, has issued an export control directive to suspend all access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 by any foreign national, whether inside or outside the United States, including foreign national Anthropic employees. The net effect of this order is that we must abruptly disable Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all customers to ensure compliance. Access to all other Anthropic models will not be affected. What the hell is going on? So I thought I'd really quickly try it, and it does seem that I still have Fable, and it is still working, it is replying, so go and use your Fable subscription really quickly, you are about to lose it. Here's the full official statement from Anthropic, which dives into a bit of what happened here. It starts out with the tweet that I just read out. We can see here we received the directive from the government today at 5:21 PM, that's essentially about 4 hours ago, and it says the letter did not provide specific details of its national security concern. Our understanding is that the government believes it has become aware of a method of bypassing or jailbreaking Fable 5. We have reviewed a demonstration of this specific technique being used to identify a small number of previously known minor vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities all appear relatively simple, and we have found that other publicly available models are able to discover them as well without requiring bypass. The TLDR of that is that the US government has found a jailbreak, which is going to allow Fable 5 to find vulnerabilities in lots of software, and Anthropic is basically saying that is a load of crap, and everything it found was public vulnerabilities, and other models can find them. I would honestly be pretty surprised if there was a jailbreak out there that allowed Fable 5 to get around all of its cybersecurity restrictions, because as Anthropic go on to say here, when they released Fable, they had a load of safeguards. They instituted strong safeguards that greatly reduced the likelihood that Fable is misused, and in fact, our safeguards are so strong that many users have complained that they're overly broad. Which, yeah, that's pretty much all I've seen people experiencing, is basically if you mention anything close to cybersecurity, Fable would just say no. They go on to say here that apparently in the weeks leading up to the launch of Fable, Anthropic worked with the US government, the UK AISI, multiple private third-party organizations, and internal teams to red team Fable's safeguards for thousands of hours in total, and these tests showed that Fable's safeguards are substantially more effective than those of any previously deployed model, and no testers have been able to find a universal jailbreak. So basically, no one can find a way to bypass all of their restrictions, but there may have been a few niche jailbreaks here or there that could get around one or two of the restrictions. And that makes sense to me. It's always a cat and mouse game of finding these jailbreaks and stopping them, and we can see down here that Anthropic actually suspect that perfect jailbreak resistance is not currently possible for any model provider. Every safeguard used in the industry is vulnerable to non-universal jailbreaks, which can elicit some cyber information in specific circumstances, and it is likely that universal jailbreaks will eventually be found in the future, and they stated this clearly when they released Fable 5. I have to agree with that. I don't know how you'd ever have perfect jailbreak protection. I mean, I follow Pliny on Twitter, and for literally any model from any provider, within a few hours of it being released, he seems to find some form of jailbreak. Anthropic were pretty aware of this though when they released Fable, as they say down here. This is one of the reasons why they had that 30-day retention of customer data with Fable, which blocked a lot of people from actually being able to use it. But the whole reason was that they could keep track of any forms of jailbreak and shut them down. And as far as I could see, it seemed to be working, but apparently the US government has other ideas. Anthropic themselves even say they have not received a disclosure of a concerning non-universal potential jailbreak that led to a harmful result, and the potential jailbreaks that they have seen have either been entirely benign responses or minor findings that provide no Mythos-specific uplift. But here's where we get to see the vague details on what the government found. Apparently, the government has only given them verbal evidence of a potential narrow, non-universal jailbreak, which essentially consists of asking the model to read a specific codebase and fix any software flaws. Our understanding is that one potential jailbreak was shared with the government, and they've reviewed the report and validated that the level of capability displayed is widely available from other models, including OpenAI's GPT 5.5, and is used every day by the defenders who keep the system safe. We'll share more details over the next 24 hours. Trying to read between the lines there, it seems that the jailbreak may have been to sort of clone a repo and say, can you fix the bugs in this? And one of those bugs would have been a security vulnerability, and then you could use that in some nefarious way. And maybe there was a jailbreak to get Fable 5 to do a bit more advanced cybersecurity checks on that repo, but obviously the details are very vague as they don't want this being leaked. Anthropic's defense here also boils down to, look at OpenAI, it does the same thing, so I do hope that them snitching on OpenAI doesn't mean that we'll also lose access to GPT 5.5. The final part of this statement is just Anthropic saying they're complying with the government's legal directive and are removing access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all users. However, they disagree the finding of a narrow potential jailbreak should be cause for recalling a commercial model deployed to hundreds of millions of people, and if this standard was applied across the industry, they believe it would essentially halt all new model deployments for all frontier model providers. And yeah, I agree. I don't really understand how we can move forward from here if we're at a point where all of these models are so powerful that the US government is just saying, no, normal people cannot have access to these. I bet the US government would be perfectly happy to have Fable all to themselves, but we all know how well Anthropic's last deal with the Department of Defense went. The other part that concerns me as a non-US citizen is the part that says suspend all access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 by any foreign national. So maybe they'll resolve this by only allowing US nationals to use Fable 5 and Mythos, but I really hope that doesn't happen, and it's going to be a weird world where the US government is restricting people from using the best models out there. And I guess that would also mean that you'd have to upload your ID to Anthropic to prove where you're born to be able to use these models. So that is basically all of the information that I have at the moment. This news literally just dropped, and I mean, I knew we were going to lose Fable 5 in 11 days from our subscriptions, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon, and this is just a weird world that we're entering here. So let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. While you're there, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.